Right now, on to the point. Power shutoffs possible. What to know tonight as dangerous fire conditions return.
Showers moving through quickly for today. Winds ramping up into our Thursday, tracking this red flag warning and weather impact alert days ahead.
City parks and homelessness. Should some become places for the unhoused to safely stay? Why it's become a topic of debate in the Sacramento mayoral race. Tonight, a refinery in California calling it quits. State speaking out just days after new gas legislation is signed. And ABC 10 investigates. Another executive of a local tiny home company now filing for bankruptcy. Good evening. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we are just 19 days away from Election Day. Tonight, the Sacramento mayoral race is heating up, and a new digital ad is stirring up a lot of controversy between the two candidates. ABC 10's Becca Habegger joins us right now in studio with a growing debate over homelessness and city parks.
Yeah, that's for sure, Alex. You know, the ad addresses a number of topics, including whether one candidate supports putting sanctioned homeless camps in city parks. More voters are hearing about this claim. Politico's California Playbook picked this up. I spoke with the candidates and did some fact checking.
Two candidates are vying to become Sacramento's next mayor. They are public health professional Dr. Flo Kofer and Assemblymember Kevin McCarty, who released a digital ad this week.
Says Flo called for new homeless encampments in our city parks.
So I asked McCarty to clarify.
Well, all throughout this campaign, we've heard this idea of using city parks, underutilized city parks, as homeless locations. I think it's a terrible idea.
McCarty references comments like these from a candidate forum back in February as Kofer speaks in favor of safe ground sites, designated camping areas for the unhoused community with bathrooms and supportive services.
I would prioritize putting safe ground in our underutilized parks. I'm going to emphasize underutilized because we have parks that are not being used that would be great places, and allow me to explain why. Underutilized parks often have water hookups and electricity hookups, which means that we can allow people to actually attend to their basic needs.
I asked Kofer to clarify what she means by underutilized parks.
So I go to a lot of city meetings, and I was at one where they were talking about underutilized parks, which were the empty lots that were one day going to potentially be parks, but right now they were empty lots. So when I was talking about this, I was using the language that I had heard at city meetings about this. So I thought I was providing clarity that these are not your neighborhood parks. These are empty lots that just one day are intended to eventually become parks.
She accuses McCarty of misrepresenting her words to mislead voters.
My opponent is now saying that we're trying to put people into our well-used everyday parks. That's simply not true. But there are empty lots that are listed on our parks list, and they are just that, empty lots.
She did not offer a specific list of those lots.
I don't support any city parks to be utilized for homeless facilities. More importantly, we have other places where they can be. We have abandoned city corporation yards. We have other locations throughout the city. Parks should be off limits.
I asked each candidate their plan to address homelessness.
One of the places we need to improve is coordination. So we have a lot of great people here who are doing important work, but we're not connected, and so we're failing people. We have people going to our emergency rooms or our jails or calls for 911, but not getting connected into long-term services that exist here. So before we add any more money, I want us to look and see how can we better use the dollars we have and partner with one another so we get to real solutions.
I think that we need to enforce the law. We can't have encampments throughout the city of Sacramento. I want to audit our city funding to make sure we're getting our biggest bang for our buck for every dollar we spend. We need to find appropriate places where we can have tiny homes, places people can camp. I think we need to focus on partnering more with the county. The county of Sacramento has 10 times more resources than the city on these issues. And lastly, look at behavioral health. I think certain individuals need to have treatment.
Kevin McCarty's new ad also mentions funding for police. The candidates have differing approaches when it comes to addressing open positions within the police department and the allocation of funds. And you can hear more about that tomorrow. ABC 10, along with Telemundo, took the biggest issues and your questions to both candidates. Watch Sacramento's Future, the Candidates for Mayor, Thursday night at 6 p.m. Also streaming live on ABC 10+.
All right, and later coming up in the show, we also have the ABC 10 voter engagement team. They are answering your questions about the November election. Tonight, Brandon Ritteman is breaking down the purpose of the Electoral College, what it's used for, and why your vote matters. That's all coming up at 6:45, so make sure you stick around. Tonight, the ABC 10 Weather Impact team is calling for weather impact alert days. PG&E has already set early warnings to thousands of customers whose power might be turned off as soon as tomorrow, and it is due to dangerous fire conditions returning to the forecast. So take a look at this. The orange spots show future possible outages. This is mostly between Vacaville and Red Bluff in the Lassen National Forest area and east along Interstate 80 in the Sierra. PG&E says they are reaching out to those people who are impacted. And Monica, people really need to take this fire danger seriously as you're calling for more weather impact alert days, right?
And that's right. Especially we've gone over 160 days without significant rain coming through the region. So very, very dry. Here's a look at how those winds start to increase tomorrow. This will start off with very calm conditions, and then by the evening, we're talking about wind gusts upwards of 35 miles per hour. Wind advisory in place starting at 11 o'clock tomorrow night, and that will continue through Friday. Now the red flag warning, that continues through Saturday evening because those winds are very dry, so it's going to drop that humidity significantly. So our weather impact alert headlines include the timing Thursday evening through Friday and Saturday, wind and fire danger being the main impacts, with the need to continue to practice that fire safety plan. Be ready to evacuate. Here's what I'm talking about in terms of the rainfall. We saw that brief brush of showers come through, not much measurable rain throughout the valley, only about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch through the foothills and the Sierra. Tail end of that system moving its way eastward here as we head through tonight and into tomorrow. What you'll notice is those winds are going to calm briefly. We'll see those lows drop into the low to mid 50s with highs tomorrow. On the cooler side into the 70s, but it's the winds that are of concern. Shifting to the north, those are dry, warming winds. We'll talk about the impacts of that coming up.
And we'll have more from Monica coming up a little bit later in the show. But to get more in-depth information on these dangerous fire conditions, head over to ABC 10 Plus. Just look for the extended forecast red flag warning ahead. On the home screen, you'll see it right there. And this app is free wherever you get your streaming apps, including Roku and Amazon Fire TV. New tonight, an oil refinery is calling it quits with plans to shut down one of its historic refineries in California by the end of next year. Phillips 66 says its long-term sustainability is uncertain. They are evaluating the future of their property near the Port of Los Angeles, and the announcement comes just days after Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law aimed at preventing gas price spikes by giving the state the authority to require refiners to store more gas and share maintenance plans with the state. Here was the governor just on Monday.
One of the principal issues that was holding back our capacity to tame these price spikes was the issue around supply, issues around maintenance, issues around refineries.
We reached out to the governor's office for a response to Phillips 66 announcement. Instead, we were given a statement from the California Energy Commission. It says in part, Phillips 66 has been a valuable partner in California's transition toward a clean energy future. We remain dedicated to collaborating with industry leaders to secure an affordable and reliable fuel supply for all consumers as we move forward. Now, it remains unclear by how much the state's new law will reduce gas prices. We know that opponents argue that changes could unintentionally raise overall gas prices and threaten the safety of workers. In other news tonight, a rural Placer County intersection closed for hours today after a man was found shot and lying in the road. This is near Riego Road and Pleasant Grove Road. Investigators say the man is expected to survive and the shooting is not believed to be random. New developments tonight. Family members of the Menendez brothers are pleading for their release, the release for the two of them from prison. Eric and Lyle Menendez are serving life sentences without the possibility of parole for the 1989 murders of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. This trial captured the nation's attention 35 years ago. Today, more than a dozen family members gathered, calling for the Los Angeles District Attorney to recommend resentencing.
If Lyle and Eric's case were heard today, with the understanding we now have about abuse and PTSD, there is no doubt in my mind that their sentencing would have been very different.
Earlier this month, the DA announced new evidence in the case, including a letter that Eric wrote to a relative detailing how he was a victim of molestation by his father. The DA says he plans to make a decision sometime this month, but it would be put to the judge to make the final decision. Coming up, ABC 10 investigates a local company anchored tiny homes, why another executive is now filing for bankruptcy.
Continuing to track this red flag warning and the impacts ahead.
And how important is your vote for the Presidential Electoral College? The ABC 10 voter engagement team joins us to break all things down. So I want to get back over to Monica Woods because we know we have those weather impact alert days, and people do need to take this very seriously with the conditions coming.
Especially because it involves fire danger.
Yeah.
And at this time of year, we've seen the most destructive, the deadliest fires in California history. The rundown with those headlines for our weather impact alert includes the dry, gusty winds, possible power issues, and the fire weather concerns. As far as our highs today, the temperatures have come down, and that certainly is going to ease some of the pressure with our fire danger. But what lies ahead are the gusty winds. We didn't see a whole lot of measurable rain coming from this weather system moving through. It's fairly dry. It brought us a few sprinkles here and there, certainly enough to kind of change the tone of what we've been seeing. Weather alerts for tomorrow. We have our wind advisory going into effect at 11 p.m. and also in conjunction the red flag warning. But you'll notice the red flag warning covers a much wider area and will actually extend through Saturday evening, and I'm going to show you why. We've got that low that's going to position itself in through the desert southwest. Here comes the high pressure ridge, windy conditions in between these two very different weather systems. Now let's talk about the winds. They really start to come up tomorrow to about 30 to 35 miles per hour. That will happen well after sunset, not until 11 o'clock. They'll continue through the Friday morning commute and even into our Friday evening forecast, starting to ease a little bit on Saturday. But what happens, and the reason why we have to extend that red flag warning, is those winds are very dry. It drops humidity to critical levels. We'll only see humidity at about 25% for overnight conditions, and then they drop to the single digits on Friday, kind of staying there through much of our Saturday until they finally come up. And that's why we have the weather impact alert headlines coming in late Thursday with those dry, gusty winds and then continuing all the way through Saturday. You'll notice, too, that temperatures will start to warm. These are dry and warming winds that we'll be dealing with. In terms of our 7-day forecast, we'll see the winds ease on Sunday. Highs will stay right around the upper 70s to near 80. Not much significant weather after we get through those 3 weather impact alert days. Will call for quieter weather and very fall-like conditions, Alex.
Thanks, Monica. Right after the break, the Electoral College, why your vote still matters here in California, and people protesting breakfast cereal, the growing controversy, and how Kellogg is responding. We are continuing our election coverage tonight in Your Voice, Your Vote. Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are focusing on battleground states with Election Day just 20 days away. Early voting is well underway across the country. This is the view at the Cobb County Election Office in Georgia today. Similar to the 2020 election, Georgia is viewed as one of the critical states that could influence the final outcome for president. The polls show the two candidates are in a very tight race in swing states. Now, some in California back here at home, they might say that your vote for president doesn't matter here. But ABC 10's voter engagement team is here to break down that statement. Here's reporter Brandon Ritteman.
Presidential elections can feel a little weird in California, and we're getting some questions about the reason why. The Electoral College. Bianca in Oakdale asked us, how does my vote help if the electoral votes are what matters? Are electoral votes only for president? Thank you, Bianca. And yes, electoral votes are only for the presidential race. The electors are going to meet in all of the states on December 17th to cast the actual votes for president in the Electoral College. Your vote matters because the popular vote in California decides who will get our 54 electoral votes. The political assumption is that Kamala Harris is going to win California because we're a blue state. But it only happens if more people cast ballots for her than Donald Trump come the November election. Given the political makeup of our state, it might not feel like your vote counts, but by law, it does. Your vote decides who gets California's electoral votes. And we do have more of those than any other state, which brings me to a related question we got from Mark in Folsom. He asked, you can win the majority vote, but still lose. How's that fair? Of course, that actually happened just back in 2016, and California is right at the heart of it. Donald Trump got 304 electoral votes, well above the 270 it takes to win the White House. He won even though Hillary Clinton beat him by 3 million votes nationwide. Guess which state all those votes came from? Right here, California. In fact, Clinton won California by more than 4 million votes. But it doesn't matter if you win California by 1 vote or by millions. All you can win are the electoral votes we actually have. As the most populated state, California has 52 seats in the House of Representatives, and we get an electoral vote for each and every one. We also get another 2 electoral votes for our 2 seats in the Senate. Now compare that to Wyoming, the least populated state. They only have 1 seat in the House, so 1 electoral vote for that. But as a state, they get the same 2 votes that we do for their 2 U.S. Senate seats. So really, your beef is with the U.S. Senate, Mark. The structure of the Senate gives more political power to the cows of Wyoming than the people of California, and that's what our election process is based on. It's not fair to California voters. The Electoral College is skewed against California more than any other state. The only thing fair about it is that both sides have to play the same game. They both know how many electoral votes each state has, and they both know it's going to take 270 to win. Great questions, Mark and Bianca. Thank you so much, and happy voting.
Now, you already know ABC 10 is working to connect you with the information you need to vote in the upcoming election. Our team is taking your questions and getting you answers. So if you have questions of your own, you can send them to us right now. Very simple. Just head over to abc10.com/vote and you will find our survey where you can tell us what else you want to know about voting and the election. New tonight in an ABC 10 investigation on abandoned projects. Anchor Tiny Home CEO has filed for bankruptcy just this week. This is the second person from the company to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, as the Fair Oaks-based company has been accused of failing to complete ADU projects, pocketing millions of dollars from its clients. Court documents show Colton Paulus owes more than $3.7 million in liabilities and claims and has just over $2.1 million in assets. Those assets include some properties and a 2019 Bentley SUV. Paulus also claims he has $1.50 in his checking account and just a little more than $1,200 in his savings account that he shares with his wife. This filing comes just a few weeks after his brother and CEO of the company, Austin Paulus, also filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. ABC 10 tried reaching out to Colton and his attorney for comment, but we did not get a response. A controversy continues tonight after 1,000 people protested outside Kellogg's headquarters. They are demanding that the company remove artificial dyes from cereals. So Fruit Loops still contains artificial colors, including red dye number 40, yellow dye number 5, yellow dye number 6, and blue dye number 1. Studies have claimed those dyes could cause behavioral problems in some children. California just last month banned the dyes from food served in public schools.
I'm here for the mom. All the moms who struggle to feed their children healthy food without added chemicals.
Kellogg's insists its products are safe, saying its ingredients meet federal standards, and the FDA has said most kids have no adverse effects from color additives. But critics argue the FDA developed its standards without assessing possible neurological effects. We're back after this break. All right, so if you just saw that, we want to give another quick reminder here. To the Point will not be on tomorrow. Instead, you can catch our 1-hour election special. We are highlighting key races, including the Sacramento mayoral race. ABC 10, along with Telemundo, took the biggest issues and your questions to both mayoral candidates. Watch Sacramento's Future, the candidates for mayor, Thursday night at 6 p.m., also streaming live on ABC 10+. As always, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. If you have something that you think we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. And don't forget, To the Point does not end here. You can always watch us wherever you are for free. Just download our free ABC 10+ app wherever you stream. Have a great night, and I'll see you on Friday. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.